Hey everybody, it is Bridget here from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, whatever it is you are doing. I hope that you are well and I hope that you are safe. Thank you for joining me today in my kitchen. Bit of a different angle. We like to mix it up a little bit because today we're actually going to be spending a bit of time doing some cooking. So I thought, nice opportunity to have you focus in here right into the cooktop so you can see what's going on, because the dish that we're creating today is one of my childhood absolute favorites. Now, it was such a treat to be able to go to the Chinese takeaways. It usually happened, maybe once a month we got to have Chinese takeaways, and growing up in New Zealand there was a Chinese takeaway almost on every corner. It was so wonderful. It was probably the most exotic food that I got to eat as a kid. It was from another country, it was from another cuisine. I mean, I had no idea that it was completely and utterly westernized for our palate, but for me it was amazing. So I remember chicken chow mein, which is what we're going to be making today, and I remember it for so many reasons. It was usually had big pieces of vegetables, which I tended to avoid as a kid. There was some really tender meat in there, usually chicken. We got chicken or beef, but also there were those noodles, and they were crunchy and they were kind of stir fried in, and there was this big starchy sauce as well that accompanied it. So those were my memories as a kid, and I just thought it was the most fabulous thing ever. So in sort of, I suppose, wanting to recreate that, and I always like to recreate things, especially if they hold really fond memories, and I'm sure you're the same. I thought I'm going to make a healthy version of chicken chow mein because I am over missing out. So that's how today's class and that's how today's recipe share, and I did actually share the recipe with you guys earlier on today, this morning. So I'm going to get my hand to throw you up a link. Thank you to everyone who's joining me. Apologies again, still no comments, don't know why I'm not getting them. Still a little bit upset about that, but I can see that I've got some people online with me today. So hello and welcome. If it's your first time here, welcome to my kitchen. If you are a regular viewer, then let's get cooking. I want to bring you down to my bench because, actually, before I do that, I've got one thing to say. Forgot to say this. This, by the way, is on sale now. We put it on sale yesterday. This has got over 40% off now. If you want to purchase your copy of this, it has got, we're doing chicken chow mein today. This is not in the book. This is a brand new recipe, but there's 100 more amazing, gut healthy, fat losing recipes in this book. It got me to where I am today and how I look right now. All the recipes in here, it's on sale. Just go to bridgetscookbook.com and you can pick up your copy for less than 40% of the original price. So pretty good deal, right? And we'll also give you a copy of my 28-day meal plan. So just a little shameless plug for the book. I've only got a couple hundred copies left. Once it's sold out, that is it. That is it. That's why we're doing it at a really good rate, because I want to get this in front of as many people as possible. So bridgetscookbook.com if you'd like a copy of that. It is ready to go, but in the meantime, come on down to my bench. Let's see what we've got going on here today. So chicken chow mein really is, the whole concept about this dish is it's not hard to make, but it does take a bit of preparation. So I want you guys to be prepared for that preparation, because just like a carpenter, you measure twice, cut once. It's the same thing when you're in a kitchen. You've got to really think about your preparation. So we're going to go through the prep first. And the first thing that I've done here, and what you'll see, is I have my chicken. So I've cut my chicken into strips. So they're in nice even sized strips as well. So sort of about that big. You can see, not too thick. You want it to be all evenly sized because you want it to cook at the same time and cook evenly as well. So in my chicken strips here, you want to allow about 100 grams per person, which is about 3.5 ounces. I think in the recipe it's for 4 portions. So I have 400 grams of chicken, and I'm using chicken breast, but you can use chicken thigh. And I have marinated my chicken. And what I've marinated in is Bridget sticky sauce, of course. What else? Everyone's going, brr, what else would you marinate it in? I've also got it in just a little bit of sesame oil as well. Like I said, the exact ingredients are in the recipe, which has Mahe, have you thrown that recipe up for people yet? the chicken chow mein. He's doing it right now. So the exact ingredients are in the recipe. So in my marinade, I have sticky sauce, I have a little bit of sesame oil, and I also have, which I have here, just a little bit of melted coconut oil has gone in there as well. Not too much, just a little bit. And you can marinate your chicken, it's up to you. I say a minimum of 30 minutes because you want it to actually start to penetrate the meat, and give it a good stir as well. And there's only a couple tablespoons of sticky sauce in there, and yet you can cover it quite efficiently. So you can marinate this for minimum of 30, but up to 24 hours. In fact, a really nice idea for anyone who does meal prepping is to do this, and then you put it into a plastic bag, and that can go in the freezer. And it'll be completely pre-marinated by the time you go to defrost. So that's the first step, is we need to marinate our chicken. And like I said, 30 minutes to 24 hours, up to you. The next thing that we want to do is we want to make the egg noodle part, because of course we're gluten-free, as you guys know. So instead of using noodles, like, you know, starchy, glutinous, potentially harmful noodles to our body, we're going to make a little cheat version, and we're actually going to make egg noodles. And how do we make egg noodles? Ta-da! We use eggs, of course. So crack some eggs into a bowl. I've just got a couple of eggs here. Like I said, follow the recipe. I think I've got 4 eggs in the recipe, so 1 per person. Just going to throw I've got a non-stick wok here. I'm going to throw that onto the cooktop. Putting it onto about a medium heat, just so it heats through gently. And to my eggs, I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons of non-dairy milk. You decide what non-dairy milk you want to add. I am adding unsweetened almond milk, but there's nothing stopping you from adding coconut milk, or you could add hemp milk, or you know, it's completely up to you what you decide to add when it comes to this. And it's just a couple of tablespoons, 1 per egg. Give it a bit of a whisk. Pinch of salt, bit of seasoning. We always like to have a little bit of seasoning in our food. Bit of seasoning. And then over to my wok here. Remember my coconut oil I was talking about? A little pastry brush. This ensures that you only get a light touching of coconut oil in the pan. You don't want to deep fry your egg noodle omelette, which is what we're making now. So just give it a light brush. Up the sides as well, because you're going to start to swirl it up the sides. And just want that at a medium heat. Once it's at a medium heat, we're going to take our egg, pour it into our wok or our frying pan. You can use a frying pan. And what you want to do now, and I'll show you this, is you want to gently begin to swirl it. You see that action I've got going there? What I'm doing when I'm swirling it, normally you would do this over the heat, so I'll put it back on the heat soon. What you are doing when you're swirling it is you are making a very thin, decent size flat omelette. So that swirling action is really, really important. That swirling action is going to give you that lovely length of the omelette. It's going right up the sides, hence why we made sure that when we were oiling the pan with the pastry brush, we're going right up the sides. And yes, you can do this in a flat frying pan. You absolutely can do it in a flat frying pan. But you know what? You can also do it in a wok, which is really cool as well. So it's completely up to you. And you want to do it, like I said, over a medium heat. And this is probably really the only technique that you need to learn in this, is this swirling technique. And if you want to speed up the omelette making process, just stick a lid onto it and it will cook even faster for you. So while that's preparing itself and just cooking through, I'm then going to move on to make what is known as the slurry. So that's kind of like our chicken chow mein sauce. And it's easy. I've got some kombu water in there. I'm going to add some sticky sauce to it. A couple tablespoons of sticky sauce. 1 for luck. I'm also going to add a little bit of sesame oil as well. It's going to go in there. Just checking my omelette. Checking my omelette. Yep, looking good. Looking good. Can you guys see? Looking good. Still swirling. Heat's going to go down just a little bit more. There we go. And the last thing I'm going to add to my slurry, and this is what is going to cause it to be a little bit thick, is I have in this little container here, I have a tablespoon of tapioca starch or tapioca flour. I've taken that off, that looks good. So give that a bit of a whisk and we're going to set that aside. Remember, this is all about the preparation. Preparation is key when it comes to any type of stir fry. because you want to make sure that everything is done, because once we start cooking, it happens really, really fast. So we want to make sure that we've got everything ready. So I'm putting that aside, that is done. Let's have a look at our omelette. So you can see how big I got it. It's got a little bit of, just a little bit of raw stuff in there, but that's all right, because when I do the next step, which is taking my thin spatula here, and I'm just going to gently coax it off the, gently now, coaxing it off the pan. And as I do that, you can literally just pull it back like that. So that raw stuff is going to continue to cook. And then we just want to sit that to the side, allow it to cool down a little bit. Oh, hello, there you go. Just put it on. You can either put it onto a plate, put it onto a chopping board, and we're just going to let that sit there and cool. When that is cooler, I'll show you the next stage on that. So that's how we do the egg omelette, or the egg noodle. That's the noodle portion of it, and yes, we're using egg, and it's just so incredibly clever, I believe. So we've done the chicken, we've done the slurry, we've done the noodle. The next preparation, and this is the final stage before we start cooking, is we've got to think about the vegetables that we're going to be adding into our chicken chow mein. So I'm keeping it super simple when it comes to vegetables. I'm using white cabbage. I'm also using some carrot. These are fennel stalks, but if you don't have fennel stalks, this is where you would add celery, but fennel stalks make really great alternatives for celery, and if you're buying fennel now, I did a masterclass on fennel a couple of days ago, you'll know that these can be used in the replace of celery, which is great. So I've got fennel stalks, and the last vegetable that I'm going to be adding in there is bean sprouts. They don't need any preparation at all. As you can see, they're already done. Love these so much. This crunch in these bean sprouts literally make my day all the time, so they're fabulous. So I'll show you how to prepare firstly our carrots. There's a couple of ways that you can do it. This is what we're looking for in the end. Do you see that? We're looking for these thin strips of carrot, and you're thinking, how am I going to do that? I'll show you. Like I said, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. The first way that you can do it is obviously with a peeled carrot, and a nice sharp knife if you've got one definitely helps. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square my carrot off. It just makes it safer when I'm cutting it. So I'm going to square my carrot off by literally taking off the side, then I'm going to roll it down. I'm going to take off the side as well. Take off one more side. And now I'm left with this carrot that's not going to roll on my bench like this one will, yeah, because I haven't squared it off. So that's the first thing you do, is you square off your carrot, and then using as thin strips as you can manage. You want to cut that carrot into like nice and thin strips. This is called julienne, by the way. This is a French term that we learn in chef school, and it basically means to cut into thin strips. So I've now lined all my slices, my square slices of carrot up, and then just take your time, run your knife through the carrot. It's all lined up, so you can do it in one swoop. Just watching fingers, of course, watching fingers. And there we have our julienne of carrot done the manual way, which is our fingers, as you know. There we go. So they're going to go into my bowl. But there is another way, and for some of you, you may already have this bit of equipment in your kitchen, so it might be really cool for you. Ta-da! This is my mandolin. Meet my mandolin. It gets a workout. I've had this mandolin for many, 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 many years. By the way, the brand is called Ben Reiner. It is probably the most popular brand of mandolins you will find in a professional kitchen. It's a Japanese brand, and I do honestly approve. If you're wondering about what sort of mandolin to get, I think I'm going to ask Mahe to see if he can throw up a link, because they are available online to purchase. They're not just used by they're not just bought by chefs. They are bought by people who who understand a good bit of equipment when they see one. So with my mandolin, I have some teeth in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? Can you? Ben Reiner, yeah. So I've got some teeth in there. Those teeth are going to help to give me those wonderful strips without having to worry about slicing it by hand. So this is a nice alternative. Some of you may have, like I said, a mandolin already. Some of you may have a food processor that has an attachment. Look, if you've got it, use it. You know, I'm definitely, you know, not particular about it. And you know you're going to get consistent cuts, which is important when you're making any type of stir fry, is that you get consistent cuts. So that's another alternative for you guys. Up to you how you do it, but if you're looking for this, yes, Ben Reiner, just a lovely little bit of equipment, totally worth having in your kitchen because it just saves the fingers from having to do too much work. So that's the carrot done. I'm also going to think about our friend the cabbage here, and it's really good, and it's good to be mindful that as well as, you know, when we're doing this preparation, as I said, preparation is key. You know, our carrots are that size, right? They're all the same shape. You may notice as well that our bean sprouts are all the same shape. So we want to make sure that this is all the same shape and size as well. So when it comes to your cabbage, take your time and attempt to cut it. And you can also do this on your Ben Reiner without the teeth, by the way. Cut your cabbage in similar thickness to your carrot. This is just going to help so much when it comes to the cooking. And like I said, just take your time. Take your time with it. You don't have to rush. Once the prep is done, the cooking takes about, not even 5 minutes. It's really, really quick. So do that. And then you've got a lovely bit of cabbage there. Like I said, it's all the same size, which is really important. So this is kind of like technique, yeah? Doesn't matter what you're stir frying, this is the technique that you need to follow. So I'm just going to push my carrot to the side, my cabbage to the side, because I want to show you just quickly. We're just going to chop through those fennel stalks. A great way to use up a vegetable, that part of the vegetable that you may normally throw away, which is just the tops of the fennels. You can even obviously keep those, and those make great herbs, which we can add in later on. So when it comes to the fennel, once again, nice and thin. Take your time. Yes, you could even do this on your Ben Reiner mandolin without any teeth. So you could just slice it and get lovely, even slices. But if you're like me, and you quite like the little mini workout you get from slicing, it is good too. And it's good to slice as well, because it's a nice skill to have in your toolbox, is the cutting of vegetables. Because when you know how to use a knife, it just makes things so much easier. So that's our vegetables basically prepped. So they're going to go back into the bowl, because at this point in time, because they're all the same size, at this point in time, we are now able to mix everything together. So the carrots are going to go in there, the cabbage is obviously in there, the fennel is in there. The only thing I'm not going to put in there is our bean sprouts, because they actually don't require any cooking at all. They're going to get tossed through once all this stuff here is cooked. So give that a bit of a toss through with your hands, just to make sure it's all evenly dispersed. Yeah, perfect. All right, it's time to get cooking. We have done the prep. The prep is done. That is done. Chicken is done. We have our slurry as well, and of course our egg noodle is over there. So once you have all these things lined up, then it's just a matter of putting your wok back on the heat and starting to do some cooking. But please let me just say, when you do this, I do suggest that you keep everything nice and close to you. Because as I say, once you start, it doesn't take long to do. It is pretty quick and pretty awesome. Okay, well that's heating up. Actually, you know what I will do? I'm going to cut up my egg omelette. So here's one that I made earlier, just because it's nice and cool. And you want to cut this up when it's cool. This is how you make your noodles, is you roll it up. Doesn't have to be a perfectly flat omelette. Look at mine, that's totally imperfect. And that's absolutely good. So roll it up like a, I don't know, like a roll, sushi, and then just cut through to create noodle-sized lengths from your egg. It is that easy. Yeah, done. While my wok was heating up, our egg noodles done. Put you over. Cool. All right. So we want this time with our heat. We want it to be on a pretty good heat. You know, we want things are going to happen quickly. So It's stir frying, which means we need a really, really good heat. And we're going to start off by putting in some chicken. That's the first thing. No need to oil the pan because the marinade is already done. Chicken goes in first. Stir frying means we stir fry. There's nothing stopping you, of course, while that is working from just adding just a touch of salt. Just a little bit. Salt goes in there. So because I'm doing one portion, I'm going to do everything in the pan at the same time. If you're doing this for, for 3 or 4 portions, what you would do is you would cook your chicken first. Then you'll take the chicken out and you'd let that rest, and then you'd cook the vegetables. So there's kind of and that's all in the recipe that you want to download. Because I'm only doing one portion, what I can do, look at that. That's a nice marinade, right? Hey, that's good. What I can do is go straight from the chicken, which is nearly cooked through because it's lovely and thin, and I can add in a big handful of our vegetables going. Give it a toss. Bit of seasoning. And it doesn't need long. Like I said, it happens really, really quickly from this point. The last thing that we need to add in to the pan is, don't forget, we had our slurry, which makes that wonderful sauce. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a stir, because remember we had the tapioca in there, so it's gone all cloudy. That's the tapioca, which is going to make it lovely and slurpy as well. Good word, slurpy. Slurry goes in. And you see, slurpy, slurpy. You can add as much slurry or as little slurry as you like. Depends how slurpy you like it. Oh, it's looking good. Alright, that is it. Okay, so that is done. All we need to do now is take that wonderful handful, decent sized handful of those bean sprouts, right? Because they are the best for the crunch. And I've just picked up my tongs so it's easier to navigate the tossing and the mixing. I have here some pre-chopped, I forgot to tell you, pre-chopped herbs. You could use basil, you could use mint, you could use coriander, you could use fennel, you could use chives, you could use, like seriously, you decide what fresh herb, but please add fresh herbs because it really does transform this dish. Alright. All we have to do now is plate up. Like I said, preparation takes the longest, and when it's time to cook, you're just like bing bong bong, and it's done. And it's like, wow, really? That's that quick? It is that quick. Alright, so where's my plate? Here it is. Here we go. Now this is up to you how you can start. You can start with, I'll show you what I'm doing. You can start with some of your egg noodles down the bottom, and then top with some of your freshly made chicken chow mein. Or alternatively, there's nothing stopping you from just kind of working it all in as you're going along. And what you will let go, that's decent sized portion, Bridge. I went all out with that one, didn't I? Woo! A few more herbs, because yum. A few more herbs go on top of that. And you have a big, gorgeous, beautiful plate of chicken chow mein. Come here. Let's talk about this. Tripod's not playing nice today. You have this big, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous bowl of chicken chow mein ready for you to go. Smells amazing. Smells exactly as I remember it as a kid, and it is fabulous. So, where's a fork? I need a fork. I need a fork. Okay, let's have a go. Let's see what. So, you think about that the carrot and the cabbage did not spend much time in the wok. Because it didn't spend much time in the wok, that's the importance of you having it in really nice, thin, even slices. If you find that, you struggle with those thin, even slices, it's going to need longer time cooking. But because we use the Ben Reiner and, nice and small cuts with the cabbage, we were able to achieve really even consistency when it comes to the cuts. Which, of course, oh my gosh, literally it tastes exactly like I remember. Except it's not bad for you, so it's really, really good for you. I'm trying to find a piece of chicken. It's funny that, I get to eating and I find that I eat the vegetables and then I'm like, oh, that's right, there's meat in here. Now, did I mention you don't have to use chicken? You can use beef, same concept. The chicken's good though. Use chicken. Chicken's good. The chicken's good, but you can use beef. You could use turkey. You could even use tofu if you want to do a vegetarian version. And everything else in there is vegetarian. Apart from don't use the egg as well. So if you want to do a vegan version, you just leave the egg out. And literally, I'm happy. Because it tastes so good. Chicken chow mein. Who doesn't love it? Who did not grow up with it? Make this healthy version. You will not be disappointed. Mahey has shared the link if you want to download the recipe. I'm going to have to share this with him now and it's a little bit disappointing, but I love him, so I will. But there you go, guys. Healthy, gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free chicken chow mein. It's marvelous. Just try it, it's so good. All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I have got one class for you to do tomorrow. Here's a sneak peek. Are you ready? This is exciting. I know I say that all the time, but literally, would you like to see what we're going to be making tomorrow? Would you like to see? It's a good one. Wait there. I've got them right here. Things are awesome when I have a tin, right? Something amazing is in this tin. So firstly, let me just show the tin. This is a New Zealand Griffin's biscuit tin. Isn't it amazing? And the picture on the front actually is, it says summer days in Taupo. So people are sitting around, I don't know if you can see that, on the stones. Because there's no sand in Lake Taupo, it's just all rocky and stuff. So they're like hanging out on the stones. Isn't it amazing? Check it out, I'll show you there. There you go, how cool is that? So, what is in the tin? This floored me. When I shouldn't say perfected, but when I worked on this recipe, I've been working on it for a couple of days now, and when I finally got it right, I was excited for you guys, because I know how much this can mean. Okay, are you ready? So, what I have in my little tin here is quite possibly the most Moorish, delicious and healthy fig cracker you have ever had. And if you've been into, I know that they sell them in like a lot of the Coles and Woolies and stuff here in Australia. They sell these gluten-free fig crackers, which are like, oh, they're so good, but they're like $5 for this tiny little packet. Guess what? That's why I made these. I was like, I don't want to spend $5 on a little packet that I eat in like, we finished that in a couple minutes. I want to make my own. Look how thin that is. It is gorgeous. This is tomorrow's class. You have to watch, because this is going to be your new best friend. It really is. They're really, really good. So that's tomorrow's class. We're going to be making fig crackers that are gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free crackers, and you're going to love them. So that's tomorrow's class, but thank you for joining me. It's time to have lunch. So hope you enjoy. Let me know how you get on to making this recipe, because it's just awesome. All right, guys. Love you. Take care. Have a good day. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.